Oh, listen to that! Listen to that! Oh! Hear it, Godzilla, man! Fight! Till the end! Fight for us! Oh my god, guys! Holy shit! Oh! Oh! Okay, I just want to turn that off and save myself battery time. Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here. Welcome to another opening night. And, oh my god, Zilla. Oh yeah, as you can probably tell, I saw Kong Skull Island. No, just kidding. I already did a review of that, for opening night. In fact, if you guys want to see my thoughts on the last two MonsterVerse movies, I'll put a link down below to my original Godzilla 2014 review and Kong Skull Island. So, I saw, finally, it took me a while, Godzilla King of the Monsters. Not the Americanized version of Gojira, the new sequel to the MonsterVerse, the third entry. Following that next year is Godzilla vs. Kong, which, don't worry, I have extra plans for that one. But yeah, this is the third attempt, really, and this is not only a sequel to 2014's Godzilla, a sequel to Kong Skull Island. It also sets up for other monster movies. But it's also, in my opinion, the third attempt at an American Godzilla movie. And 20 years after Godzilla 98, over 20 years after the first attempt, we had the first attempt with Matthew Broderick, saying, that's a lot of fish, or, this animal is way too big to be some kind of lost dinosaur. A hybrid caused by the thaw of these islands. Yeah, like your earthworms? Yes, I believe this is a mutated aberration. That's a lot of fish. Okay, first attempt was fucking garbage, I'll get that off. Even though I find it a fun little action movie, and it's probably my favorite Roland Emmerich movie because I fucking hate everything he's done. I'll be one of those people who even say Independence Day is fucking garbage. I hate that movie. Okay, so, first Godzilla film was kind of just blech. It didn't really work. 2014, obviously it was the second attempt. They got Godzilla right. They got it totally correct. But they focused too much on the people. They focused on Bryan Cranston and his family, and Bryan Cranston's killed off the second act. Although I know a lot of fans want him to come back as Jet Jaguar, which, as bad shit as that is, I'd be okay with it. But now we have Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I fucking love this movie! Oh my god, this movie was a ride and a half. And that's been most of the movies I've seen this year. They've just been thrill rides. They've been so much fun. Oh my god, I fucking loved this movie. Not only is this the best Godzilla movie in a goddamn long time, better than 2014. Is it better than Kong Skull Island? No, I still like Kong Skull Island a little better. But is it better than Godzilla 2014? Yes. Is it better than Shin Godzilla? Semi. Although, to be fair, like the recent Godzilla films, I've seen 2014, I've seen Shin Godzilla. I didn't mind. I was actually one of the people who really like Shin Godzilla just because of it being probably the most realistic portrayal of what would happen if Godzilla showed up and how the world would react to it. I haven't seen the anime trilogy, but from what Sean of JTISREBORN has told me, they're fucking terrible. So I'm probably going to skip the anime trilogy. And what a wasted potential. Godzilla and anime, you think they go hand in hand, but no, they fucked it up. So Godzilla King of the Monsters, not only the best Godzilla film in years, in a long-ass time, not only, I'll even say it right now, this is probably one of the best films of the summer, if not the best film of the summer. I know we still got a few other movies coming out. We have, Shaft actually looks pretty good. I'll get to that in a sec. We got a couple other movies, but yeah, Godzilla King of the Monsters is by far the most entertaining time I've had over the summer. I'll even say this, it's probably a little better than Endgame, and I haven't seen Endgame fully, but I've seen the majority of it, and I have seen that battle, which is amazing, but this is better. This is so much better. It is just a fun monster movie, and it gets Godzilla right, it gets Mothra right, it gets Rodan right, it gets Ghidorah right, and it makes me really excited for Godzilla vs. Kong next year, so okay, so yeah, I loved it. First impressions, loved it. It was one of the best Godzilla films in a long time. Plot. So, this takes place 5 years after the San Francisco attack, when Godzilla showed up and defeated the Mutos. We actually flash back. By the way, this will have spoilers. So ye be warned. So, we flash back to San Francisco and we see Kyle Chandler and his family. They just lost their son in Godzilla's attack, and Kyle Chandler blames Godzilla. And funny enough, this is the second fucking kaiju movie Kyle Chandler's been in, and I love Kyle Chandler. He played fucking Bruce Baxter in Peter Jackson's King Kong, so he's already dealt with Godzilla and Kong, and on top of that, I heard he's coming back for the next one, and I'm like, you can't just catch a break with this giant fucking gorilla, can he? And it makes me wonder if they're gonna do a little joke with that. The fact that he was in Peter Jackson's Kong as Bruce Baxter, so, yeah, so he doesn't like Godzilla because he feels he blames him for the death of his son. So we cut to 5 years later, and actually ever since the San Francisco attack, Godzilla's been missing. He has not shown up in 5 years. And, on top of that, now that the world has been exposed to giant monsters, and that Monarch is exposed, you have people protesting the destruction of these creatures. In fact, you see one guy protesting with a little sign that says, "Destroy all monsters." I'm like, good Easter egg. Really good Easter egg. There's a ton of them in here. You have Monarch obviously in deep shit. The government wants to kill these monsters, but Dr. Serizawa, once again played by Ken Watanabe, basically wants to make sure we have an equal balance. So meanwhile, you have the family 5 years later, Kyle Chandler's family, and they've been split up. They have a daughter who's played by that chick from Stranger Things. I don't watch Stranger Things. And they're creating something called the Orca, which is not the Orca from 1977, the Jaws ripoff, although I wish it was. I would either want a Orca 2 or a remake of Orca. I would totally have that. Orca versus Jaws would be amazing. Anyway, so they create this thing that actually essentially try to not mind control the monsters, but more try to calm them down. It's kind of like, it's the equivalent of, I find, like the raptor flute resonating chamber from Jurassic Park 3, where they try to use it to calm them down, which is understandable. Their first test subject is Mothra. And I gotta talk about Mothra. Mothra is fucking gorgeous in this film. Probably one of my favorite designs now of Mothra. Do I wish they showed her a bit more in her color form? Yeah, but they treat her almost like an angel descended from heaven. And on top of that, side note, they do something finally they did with an American Godzilla movie. They brought back the original Akira Ifukube music, the Godzilla theme, which, in my opinion, guys, as you guys heard, is my favorite... Oh. It's my favorite cover of the Godzilla theme thus far. There's only a few I really like. I like the Destroya theme version. I like the live orchestra version, which you can find on YouTube. I like Karo Wanda's rendition, because, funny enough, Karo Wanda, who does the score for Inuyasha, one of my favorite show of all time, was actually an apprentice to Akira Ifukube. And on top of that, he does work for Toho. Both franchises are done by Toho, so when I found out he did a cover of the Gojira soundtrack, I was like, that's actually very appropriate, because there's a lot of Godzilla music in that. So, anyway, so they used the original Godzilla theme, and they used the original Mothra theme, and, okay, I heard the soundtrack a week before, because I was at Anime North. I heard it a week before, and I was loving it. The Mothra theme, it's very beautiful, it's very orchestric. They also include kind of the native ceremony dance from the original Gojira kind of mixed in with the Mothra theme. And I don't know if I'm the only one who did this in the theater, but was anybody else, when the Mothra theme played with the flute, singing along to what the Twin Fairies sang in the original films? Like, okay, the Twin Fairies are not in this. I don't think they're even a part of this, but come on. I was one of the people, when I heard the Mothra theme, I was just singing, Masuraya, Masura, Donganga-san kuyahi domu. I was singing that all the way through, and I loved it. So, they tried on Mothra. Mothra's a little peeved, and they calm her down. So it's like, okay, cool, Mothra's gonna be good. It's in larva form. It's gonna take care of us. But then, kaboom! fucking terrorists are in this shit. Like, what the hell? Like, they start shooting up shit. That's another thing. It's not just monsters fighting. It's people fighting. It's military forces. You know, it's like fucking Call of Duty. Like, you know, they're shooting each other and shit. And out comes fucking Tywin Lannister. Charles Dance is the actor, but fuck it. It's Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones. He comes in, shoots this motherfucker in the head. I just expected him to say, the Lannisters send their regards. But yeah, so he's in this, and he's a eco-terrorist who was a British force guy who feels like unleashing these monsters will pretty much throw a Thanos snap at the population. And so he's basically on the bad monster side. So he's trying to use Mothra to, you know, destroy people. But that's not the case. Mothra retreats, and Tywin Lannister takes Stranger Kid's girl and the mom hostage and use them to try to get other monsters out of hibernation. So, meanwhile, you have Monarch, you have Dr. Serizawa, you have Kyle Chandler joining them, or Bruce Baxter. So it's Dr. Serizawa, Bruce Baxter, you have Mr. Andrews from Titanic is in this thing too. So Mr. Andrews, he's controlling it. He's with them too. And then you have the fucking princess chick from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I can't remember what her name is, the actress's name, but okay. Side note, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is a wonderful film, a beautiful film. You guys should check it out. And I really like that actress. I think she's super hot. And I think she's a wonderful actress. So the fact she's in this is great. So yeah, you have Crouching Tiger chick, Mr. Andrews, Bruce Baxter, and Dr. Serizawa all are part of Monarch, and they're basically going in and, like, you know, trying to help people and evacuate people and try to stop these monsters from being unleashed. Dr. Serizawa thinks, like, no, we can get Gojira. He's the only one who calls him Gojira. Says Gojira is the balance. He will keep these monsters in check, but the government's like, no, we don't want you to do that. And then they go to Antarctica. And basically, Monarch is like the shield of this series. So they go to Antarctica where the terrorists are and where Tywin Lannister is, and they find what they call Monster Zero, aka King Ghidorah, frozen in ice. Now, I was a little skeptical of this because from what I heard, it was basically like where Godzilla and Ghidorah and shit were all fighting in prehistoric times. I know the director, Mike Dougherty, who did a wonderful job, by the way, is wanting to do a Godzilla BC film. But here's the thing. My only concern is that Godzilla will not be created from nuclear radiation, because I still am under the belief that Godzilla was created from the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, even in this series. If they do a Godzilla BC film, I would like them to go the Godzilla versus King Ghidorah route, where he starts as a Godzillasaurus, and then maybe King Ghidorah is maybe a little smaller, so they're still fighting. But basically, the radiation from Hiroshima and Nagasaki caused him to get bigger, and that's why in 1954, with the atomic bombings with the Lucky Dragon, they try to kill him with more of it, and it only makes it worse. So that's what I hope they do with this, is that they still remain to the original Godzilla lore, which they do in this film very well, because when I heard Ghidorah was from prehistoric times, I'm thinking that's not good, but then they explain he's an alien, which I'm like, thank you. That's all I want with King Ghidorah, is a three-headed golden dragon from outer space. So that's all fine and dandy. So they find him frozen in ice, and I'm kind of okay with that, because they're pretty much pulling a Megatron from the first Michael Bay Transformers movie, where Megatron was frozen in ice for thousands of years, and they basically find him. So it's kind of the same subject. So, they awaken King Ghidorah. Really stupid move in their opinion. And Ghidorah basically is attacking the military and eating people. And what I love, everybody's pointed this out, and I love the Ghidorah in this one, because he's basically like, there's one head on this side, he's like, I'm a dummy, I want to eat thing. And the middle one's like, no, bad. You behave. It's like, okay. So, you have Ghidorah doing shit, and then you have the military in this, and what I love is in Antarctica, it looks like they're all holding Nerf guns, which is hilarious, because they're all white machine guns, but they look like Nerf guns. I get they're trying to camouflage in the environment, but they look like Nerf guns. So, one of the guys is like, also, they dropped the F-bomb a few times in this movie, which I'm like, yeah, because with Kong Skull Island, somebody pointed this out, where every time something bad happened, you can tell in their heads they're just going, fuck, right? And there's a lot of that time where people are just like, oh, fuck, right? Well, not all the time, but they drop it like twice, right? But one military guy, you saw in the trailers where he's like, you gotta be kidding me, but they actually made it where he's like, you've gotta be fucking kidding me, and I'm like, yes, that is the exact reaction I would have to a giant three-headed golden dragon from outer space shooting lightning at me. So it looks like they're all fucked, and then Godzilla shows up and is like, what the and like they played the Godzilla theme, you know, bah, 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 bah. I keep expecting somebody to go, Godzilla! And it's fucking awesome. And then they start fighting, and it's amazing. A lot of people complain that it's still in the dark, in the rain, where you can't see it, but thankfully, unlike 2014, they actually do brighten the image where you can see the monsters fighting. So you have Godzilla just fighting to beat the shit out of Ghidorah. It's amazing. They're just, and people are just getting in the way and shit. Yes, they have plot armor, but who cares? You just have these giant monsters fighting, and Godzilla gets his ass kicked a little bit, but they obviously retreat and fight another day. And something I do want to bring up. The critics who are hating this movie right now, you're going to the wrong fucking movie, guys, because what a lot of people are saying is that, oh, God, the monsters are great and shit, but the humans suck, the humans are terrible. Really? Have you not seen a Godzilla movie? Aside from the original Gojira and a few others, like, most of the Godzilla movies have shit characters. And that's the point. They're pretty much there to just provide more of a our perspective on the situation. But in that sense, who gives a shit about the human characters? You can pretty much watch this movie and ignore the characters and focus on the monsters, which they do, and it's amazing. And I think what people are, like, we're so used to nitpicking the shit out of movies now, we're not grateful for what we got, honestly. Like, people who are bitching about this movie, at least be fucking grateful they got Godzilla right. At least be grateful they got Mothra and Rodan and King Ghidorah right. Be grateful. What was the one thing your parents always taught you as a kid? Be grateful for what you have. For fuck's sakes, you do not run the industry. And you gotta be grateful to these motherfuckers that they tried. And they succeeded with these monsters. And the fact that you're saying it's not a good movie because of the human characters, I'm sorry, fuck every one of you for saying it's a shit movie because of the characters. And you know what? Hell, I'll say it. The characters in this were a lot of fun. Yeah, they were cliche as hell. Yeah, they had some chummy dialogue, but again, you've never seen a Godzilla movie. You've never seen a guy hold a cup of coffee in his hand. I'll just use this Coke, for example. You've never seen a Godzilla movie where a guy with a cup of coffee is like, you're a hard bitch. That's how I can describe the critics. You're all hard bitches. Okay, Leonard Maltin, of all people. Leonard Maltin, one of the world's greatest film critics and historians, up there with Siskel and Ebert, said this movie was garbage. This coming from the guy who said Godzilla 85, which is one of my favorite films in the franchise, was too straight to be funny. And to quote Brennan Terrell in his Godzilla 85 review saying, I would have told Leonard Maltin right there, how about you go watch the original Gojira and say that when people are dying and you have a kid crying going, Mommy! And you want to just be there just like, hang on. Yeah, you have a daughter looking at her dead mom going, Mama! And you just want to shout, be more funny! Be more funny! You know, obviously, Leonard, you grew up with the fucking Showa era where where Godzilla was the campy Batman show. Yes, this is sort of a Showa-era Godzilla film, but it's like a big-budget, epic version of a Showa-era film. Hell, I actually would say the tone of this is on par with Godzilla Final Wars, and while I'm not the biggest fan of Final Wars, I think I actually like this a bit more than Final Wars, honestly, but fuck, man, like, people bitching at this movie for the characters. Fuck off, it's a Godzilla movie. You pay to see a giant radioactive dinosaur, fire-breathing dinosaur, destroy buildings, wreck shit, fighting a giant butterfly, a giant volcanic pterodactyl, and a giant three-headed golden dragon from outer space. If that's not the acid kicking in, I don't know what is. So, back to the movie. So, basically, Ghidorah's on the loose, Godzilla's kind of strategizing what he's gonna do, and Monarch's basically trying to follow the Orca source with Ghidorah. So then, they go to fucking Mexico, and they bring out another monster, and it's fucking Rodan, coming out of a goddamn volcano. And by the way, they do pronounce most of the names right as they do start with the Japanese name, so Gojira, Masura, King Ghidorah, But they then go with Godzilla, Mothra, Ghidorah. Rodan is the only one they don't do the Japanese name. So, like, the Crouching Tiger chicks, like, they call him Rodan, the fire demon. And I'm like, why didn't you call him Rado? Because that's how he is in the Japanese. You could have been like, the ancient prophecies call him Rado, which is Japanese for radar. And that was the original pronunciation of Rodan. But now it's like Rodan. It's just Rodan, not Rado, right? So Rodan shows up and starts fucking shit up and just like you see people get killed in this, and it's great because it shows total dread. Once Ghidorah shows up in full glory and claims his place as king for a while, and on the volcano with the fucking cross in the center, everything, and you have fucking, you have fucking Rodan bowing before him and everything. And everybody said that Rodan is like the Starscream of this, and you know what? I can agree with that. I just keep expecting him to go, King Ghidorah, I will be leader of the Deceptor Kaijus! Well, that would have been great. Fucking King Ghidorah's voiced by fucking Frank Welker. It's like, yeah, maybe Destroya shows up, but it's like, King Ghidorah, I have summoned you, and King Ghidorah's like, no one summons King Ghidorah! But it's great. So, Rodan shows up and fucks shit up. There's this great dogfight, very on par homage to the original Rodan, where, like, jets are trying to chase him, and it's a big dogfight. Fucking Rodan does a barrel roll and wipes out, like, 5 fucking jet fighters. It's so much fun. And then they try to lure him into King Ghidorah. They start fighting, and it's great. But then Ghidorah tries to chase the fucking Monarch jet ship thing, and then you think, oh shit, we're fucked. But then Godzilla just comes in and just like jumps in like a fucking whale and bites that motherfucker and drags him in the ocean, and they're fighting in the water, and it's great. Oh my god. And then Godzilla bites one of the fucking heads off Ghidorah, and you're just like, oh shit, are we getting Mecha Ghidorah already? Oh my god. So, but then, like, but then the military, oh shit, the military now take control, and they've developed a new weapon, and that weapon, the Oxygen Destroyer, which is the weapon that killed the original Gojira back in 54. No connection, but what I love about this, they really do the Oxygen Destroyer right in this. Not only do they have it in military application, which in the original film is what Dr. Serizawa feared the most, but it pretty much does. It almost kills Godzilla, obviously. Doesn't kill Ghidorah, but we'll get to that in a sec. But it does kind of set up for maybe a future film with Destroya, with Destroya. And even though it's not even, forced down your throat, it's very subtle that you can say, from that, Destroya can be born. And it can lead to another film. A lot of people think Destroya is going to show up in Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't think so. I think they're saving that for the last film. And if anything, I'd say Gigan shows up next time. I really want Gigan. Hell, concept art was leaked with Gigan. I'm like, I want that. So, Godzilla's down for a while, and King Ghidorah's king, and then he summons all the other monsters, so you have, unfortunately, not any other Toho kaiju films, because I guess they could only get the rights to Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah. But there is a giant spider, and originally I thought in Kong Skull Island the giant spider and that was Kumonga. This looks like Kumonga. I think this is more Kumonga than the giant spider in Kong Skull Island. I'm gonna call him Kumonga in this, but Kumonga in this one, it's interesting. He's a spider, but he's got Cthulhu tentacle shit going on, so it's like Kumonga Thulu. There's your Titan name, Warner Brothers. Kumonga Kulu. Or Kumonga Thulu. You can't copyright on that shit. So there you go. So Kumonga Thulu is there. There's a giant woolly mammoth. And fuck it, it's a Mama-kill from Return of the King. It's a Mama-kill from Lord of the Rings. A hairy Mama-kill. So maybe it got dug out of Middle Earth or something. You have another Muto, which is interesting. There's another Muto in this series. There's more of them. And then you have some sort of like weird rhino lizard thing. I'm guessing they originally wanted Anguirus, but they couldn't get the rights to him, which is a shame, because I think Anguirus would really do well in the series. So they all show up and kind of just like pledge their allegiance to King Ghidorah. What was I gonna say? Fuck. Oh, there's just so much going on. This movie was fucking awesome. But yeah, I'm really hoping at some point they get the rights to more kaiju, because I really think that should be the case. So, yeah, the world's kind of fucked right now. So, Stranger Things girl steals the Orca thing and goes to Boston. So I guess that's our destroyed city. It was San Francisco, and now it's Boston. And, okay, I don't know what's happening with Godzilla vs. Kong, but can we please have New York City be the big fight between the two? Because honestly, that is actually very fitting, because Kong is king of New York. Godzilla 98 was at one point king of New York, as well as in Destroy All Monsters, as well as Rodan attacking New York, so you can have all three of them. But man, I think a battle in New York City to have the claim to the Empire State Building throne, that would be great. I would love that with the next film. So anyway, so she goes to the Boston Red Sox Stadium. There's a couple of jokes in there, by the way. Haha, nobody's gonna be a Boston fan. Anyway, so she's there, and she tries to get Ghidorah to come to her so she can lure him away. So, basically, Monarch's like, well, Godzilla's fucked, what do we do? But then they discover a trait of Godzilla because Mothra shows up, and she's now out of her cocoon and becomes, you know, the winged Mothra. They play the theme, Masuraya, and it's great. And you have a cameo with Brooks, who is the guy who's hanging out with John Goodman's character in Kong Skull Island. His character is in this, and he's still running Monarch, which is cool. So, he's there, and, you know, you have Mothra and everything. And Mothra shows up in the middle of the ocean with Monarch to say, hey, Godzilla's alive! He's down below! Go get him! So they decide, how can we revive Godzilla? How can we, like, get him back on his full strength? So what they do is they do a clever, almost trivia plan, or sort of tribute plan to Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, where they bring back Godzilla with a nuclear sub, which 91. So they basically they take their nuclear weapons, their nuclear bomb thing, and they're gonna bring it to Godzilla, blow him up, and basically get the radiation to put him back to full strength, because that's what fuels Godzilla, is radiation. So where the hell is Godzilla hiding, you might ask? Like, how is he keeping hidden? So the whole Hollow Earth theory is apparently fact in this universe, and they take a submarine to find him. They discover Atlantis! Fucking Godzilla is hiding in Atlantis underwater in an underground civilization. It's Atlantis! They find Atlantis in this movie. So I keep expecting fucking the chick from Atlantis, The Lost Empire, to show up, and maybe they bump into the crew from that, and fucking Michael J. Fox, Milo Tetzner, or whatever, they bump into that would have been great. But no, this is not connected to the Disneyverse. Anyway, so then it turns out that the Atlanteans bowed to Godzilla. They praised Godzilla as a god. And my theory is that Atlantis did not sink from a natural disaster. It was Godzilla and the monsters fighting that caused the island to sink. So, we have Atlantis in this movie. We have Atlantis. Godzilla's hiding underground in a underground lava hollow Atlantis civilization. And there is a wonderful tribute to 1954's Godzilla in terms of plot. So the person they have to find somebody to go in there and put the bomb next to Godzilla. And of course it's Dr. Serizawa, Ken Watanabe. And it's very similar to the 1954 Gojira, where Dr. Serizawa and them, they take the oxygen destroyer and they bring it underwater and they set off the button to kill Godzilla, but Dr. Serizawa pulls the cord that keeps him from coming up to the surface because he doesn't want his creation to be used for mankind, which it is in this film. So, in this one, Dr. Serizawa goes up to Godzilla and has the little nuclear bomb and the detonation device, and he takes off his gloves and his helmet, and right there they're saying, like, the radiation will kill him. Like, dude, no, dude. So, there he is, burning alive. He's got the detonator and everything. And he goes up to Godzilla and he touches his nose. And in Japanese he says, goodbye, old friend. And it's honestly really sweet. It's honestly a really sweet moment. I mean, I loved Ken Watanabe in these movies. I wish he stayed around, but obviously he had more movies to do. But I guess he didn't want to stay on for too long. So, the only other character from the original Godzilla, from the Bryan Cranston Godzilla is gone. You know, blows up with Godzilla. And it's really sweet. My only wish, what they did was they played the, the choir of girls, Prayer for Peace, from Godzilla 54 in that scene. I think that would have been very fitting. if they played that, because it would have been add more emotion. So nuke goes off, blows up, they nuke Atlantis. I mean, it's already sunk. Why do you have to do it even more? And then Godzilla shows up, and he's fully fixed, and he's got his spines bigger. They play the Godzilla music again. It's great. He sends a signal up the sky beam, which is in every fucking movie now. And he's off to San Francisco, and it's basically in this corner, you have Godzilla and Mothra. In this corner, you have King Ghidorah and Rodan, and they start going at it in Boston, and it's fucking amazing. You have Mothra, like, beating the shit out of Rodan and stings him, so I guess she's part Bumblebee. You know, don't fuck with the bees, girl. So at that moment, I was just hoping Rodan would be like, not the bees! So there's that. Then Mothra protects Godzilla, like literally shielding him from Ghidorah, saying, stay away from my man, which, by the way, they ship Godzilla and Mothra in this, which is really fucking weird, honestly, because I've already seen fan art of people turning Godzilla and the monsters into anime characters, which, why does every dinosaur creature movie have to take these animals and make them human? I don't get the fascination with it. My guess is it's because of friendship is magic, but I don't care. I'm not a brony, but fuck, it's funny. I mean, I understand the Raptor Squad for Jurassic World, but not Godzilla. I don't get it. Anyway, so they're all fighting and shit, and Mothra basically sacrifices herself and puts her fucking moth shit on Godzilla. And then fucking Godzilla becomes Burning Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Destroya, and just annihilates King Ghidorah. When you see that, you're just like, oh, fuck. So, kills Ghidorah, Godzilla gets up, and he's now the king of the hill. Pun intended, and all the monsters, even Rodan, kneel before him. Credits roll, and they play the original Godzilla theme and stuff. And at the end, they have actually something I really liked. There was a lot of great little Easter eggs in the credits. There was obviously a little setup for Godzilla vs. Kong, because that's coming next, and I am so excited for that. And then you have little Easter eggs, like you have apparently there was a article in the credits that said was written by Steve Martin. Not that Steve Martin, but Raymond Burr's character from the original Godzilla King of the Monsters and shit. So there's that. And then you have at the very end of the credits as the Godzilla theme's playing, and it's fucking amazing to hear that in the theater. Because very quickly with Ready Player One, they play the Godzilla theme in that, but it's really out of pitch, and I didn't care for it. This one, they do it right. And honestly, Bear McCreary did probably the best cover of the Godzilla theme I've ever heard. But anyway, end credits. The last thing you see is a loving tribute to Haruo Nakajima, the original Godzilla suit actor. It was really nice to see him get recognition for his work. And then you have a post-credit scene, which is not really setting up for Godzilla vs. Kong, I don't think. But basically, Tywin Lannister is still around. He's still around, and they find one of the original the missing head of King Ghidorah, and he says, "We'll take it," and that's it. So my guess is they're either setting up for Mecha King Ghidorah, Mecha Godzilla. That's a good way to do Mecha Godzilla, because we've seen Godzilla be an alien creation. We've seen Mecha Godzilla fight with the humans as a Earth Defense Force. We've seen Mechagodzilla the same way, but he's called Kiru, and he's built out around the bones of the original Godzilla. That makes him go haywire. I'm now hoping to see a Mechagodzilla movie where he is controlled by terrorists. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. A Mechagodzilla run by Tywin Lannister. I would love that. So, that's what they're doing. Or they're probably going to set up for Godzilla vs. Kong. Maybe they use King Ghidorah to basically create Destroya, so they're going to pull a Doomsday from Batman v Superman, which would not be good. So, bottom line, I'm just like, fuck, this movie was awesome! This movie was so much fun, guys! Fuck the critics, go see this! I want more of these fucking movies, because they did it so well. You know what, here's my theory with the critics. They're getting paid by Disney. I'm one of those people who will believe they're getting Disney checks, and the reason for it, Disney had such a high with Endgame. That was the biggest moneymaker of all time. But they still have a few more fucking movies to put out. They still have Lion King to put out over the summer. They still have, oh fuck, what's the other one? They got a few movies. They got Lion King, they got Spider-Man, they've got, Toy Story 4, And basically, they're trying to run the summer and basically kind of put away any of the competition, which is probably Warner Brothers. So they're trying to basically pay off the critics to say shit about Godzilla with Warner Brothers. They're trying to silence the critics about saying anything about maybe the new Fast and Furious movie. They're basically trying to set a path for their next successful film. And I really don't like that with Disney. Disney, you gotta give people another chance. You can't own the summer. You own Fox, you own Star Wars, you own Marvel. You can't own the summer. You can't own a season. So, guys, go support this film, because this is the Godzilla film we've been waiting for over 20 years. They got it right. They nailed it. And I love it. I cannot wait for Godzilla vs. Kong. I want them to make more after this. I want a Mecha Godzilla movie. I want a Rodan Mothra spin-off movie. I want fucking Destroya at some point. I want a Destroy All Monsters movie. And I'm not just talking about 3 monsters. I'm talking about every monster from Toho, from the Godzilla franchise. I want Heron. Bring fucking Minya in, but just don't make him be like, Godzilla says that I should learn to fight my own battles, you know. Don't do that. Bring in Ebra, bring in Titanosaurus, bring Space Godzilla and Biollante. I want this to continue. Because I think Warner Brothers is trying to tell Toho, we can do Godzilla now. Can we please make more of them? Because their contract is supposed to expire at the end of Godzilla vs. Kong. But on top of that, Toho loves this movie so much. They approve it. And they actually want to do their own cinematic universe with Godzilla and actually go back to, from what I heard, the Heisei era and do suits again, which I'm like, even better. You could have 2 Godzilla franchises happening at the same time. Hell, do a Godzilla Into the Spider-Verse kind of movie, where you can have every incarnation of Godzilla brought to a timeline, and they just start wrecking shit. And you have all the good Godzillas versus the bad Godzillas. I would love to see that. That would be amazing. But oh fuck, this was such a wonderful film. Well shot, beautifully executed. The music's great. The Godzilla, all the monsters look fantastic. Even the characters are great. The acting's fine. The directing's great. So much to love with this movie, guys. Go see it. I've said enough, but I loved it. And you know what? I hate to say it. This is probably gonna go in my top 10 favorite Godzilla films now. And I think it's going to probably replace 2014, because I went back and watched 2014 before this. It's not aged well. It's really hard to see what's going on, and on top of that, the amount of cock teasing in that movie is fucking ridiculous. They got Godzilla right, but it's not as fun. And I think another reason I think people aren't appreciating this film, last thing before I leave, what American audiences, I think, really wanted, especially with 2014, they wanted an exact tone and recreation of the original Gojira, which is not a fun film. It's a dark, depressing allegory disaster film for the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And I think fans have really wanted America to replicate that for American audiences. And I understand. I mean, even I was wanting that with Godzilla 2014. I'll even say this. The first Comic-Con teaser trailer they had, which you can find on YouTube, really nailed that for me. Really promised me that. And what we got was basically just a generic disaster movie with Godzilla. And that's not what we wanted. We wanted an exact rendition. And this is probably the closest we're gonna get. So, who knows, maybe down the line they'll do a reboot and they'll do Faithful to 1954 and make it work for an American audiences, because I think the reason they won't do it, because maybe it has something, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with 9/11, where, like, it'll just remind people of too much of that imagery, but that's kind of what you gotta do with this. I mean, we did actually kind of get that. We got that with Cloverfield. Cloverfield kind of did that a little bit, where it was like 9/11, but with a kaiju. So, yeah, like, that's what I think people were kind of disappointed with, and what they really want is a dark, real dark allegory for that, for Godzilla, American Godzilla, but we're not going to get that right now. They're just focusing on franchising it and making as many of these as possible, which I love. I really am okay with this. So, Godzilla King of the Monsters, I'm going to give it about a 9 out of 10. It's better than 2014, not as better as Kong Skull Island, and it is definitely in my top 10 favorite Godzilla films. So, that's all I gotta say. Go see this movie. Of course, if you guys have seen Godzilla King of the Monsters, what did you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. I also want to give a shout out to basically my kaiju team of YouTubers on our website, BigJackFilms.com, including KPF Kaiju Network, Nick Jackson, Sean of JTISREBORN, and a few other people's Justin Tang, Cinematic Trash. Guys, go subscribe to their channels. And even CINEMASSACRE, even. Like James and I have been keeping up, and he's a really nice guy. So go subscribe to those guys. I'll put their channels in the link down below. I'll put a link to our website. Definitely go check it out. Go check out their channels and subscribe. So, thank you all for so much watching this opening night. It's been a long time coming. Long live the King of Godzilla. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later. This is Big Jack Films signing out saying...